following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ralph Tycho, and welcome to another episode of The Package Tourist, hosted by the Package Tourist in the magical mystery tour called Life, Matthew DiBiase. Welcome, Matthew.
Tonight we'll be discussing the radicalization of the Democratic Party and why that radicalization will save America from the forces of corporate fascism, corporate racism, corporate sexism, and the rape of the earth by corporate America. You see now with the upcoming presidential elections, the Republican Party is demonizing the Democratic Party, saying basically it's all socialism. If the Democrats take over, this country will be, totally dominated by socialism. And they blame, liberal education. They blame liberal media. They blame liberal ideas and progressive ideas for the fact that the Democratic Party has, quote unquote, is becoming more socialistic. But in my view, I think the real reason why the Democratic Party is becoming more radicalized is that you can blame the Republican Party itself. Because, in my opinion, since 1980, the right wing has been assaulting, and that's the word I want to use, assaulting with a capital A, the middle class of America through supply side economics, which is basically converting America instead, to a two-class society of haves and have-nots, where the middle class is just literally being, annihilated, and the fact that the middle class is slowly ceasing to exist. What you're having is literally a two-class society, and it's like Newtonian physics. What is it Newton said? For every action, there is an equivalent reaction. For every assault that the right wing has done to our society, economically, assaulting education, assaulting civil rights and civil liberties, assaulting even spiritual freedom for non-Judeo-Christian faiths, assaulting non-white people, taking away their civil liberties and civil rights. What you're doing is you've given them no choice but to seek more radical solutions to counteract this, this right-wing assault on America, middle America, poor America. This robbing of the needy to enrich the greedy. It has been a ruthless, calculated, deliberate assault. And what we have done, what the end result of that assault is, our country is literally paralyzed with enormous debt. We have dug ourselves into a hole so deep that we may never be able to climb out of it. You are seeing our civil rights and civil liberties being taken away from us. The voting rights of non-white people being eradicated, through voter ID laws or these, purges of voting rolls of predominantly non-white people. And the false claims of, voter fraud and all that, never proven. You are seeing the middle class being, marginalized because with all this debt, they have no way of getting out of their, elevating themselves, and basically, actually, they're seeing their status instead of middle class being reduced to more, to being working poor. And what you're seeing is these tax laws that are benefiting the ultra rich and not really helping middle America. And basically, people, average working people have no choice. They have to seek more radical solutions. They have to become radicalized. But because this right-wing revolution is backing us to a wall, and we have to fight back. Somehow, somewhere, some way, we have to fight back. And that is why candidates like Bernie Sanders, first and foremost, have gained popularity, have actually become a dominating voice in Democratic Party discourse. In fact, many of the candidates have taken, aspects of Bernie Sanders' viewpoints and adopted it, trying to co-opt it and make it their own, and though not in exactly the same way as Bernie has, because Bernie, has called for a revolution. And in a sense, actually, that's what we need now is a revolution, because we are being oppressed by a corporate fascist oligarchy that, has made this America safe for corporate fascism. You are seeing corporate money, taking away free speech, stifling protest, encouraging state legislatures to ban certain forms of protest. You're seeing corporate fascism encouraging, conservative state legislatures to take away women's rights, not just their reproductive rights, but also their ability to, their political power. It has encouraged this gerrymandering, which has marginalized, non-white voters, female voters, liberal voters. It's literally, this corporate fascism is dispossessing America. Basically, our country is being taken away from us. And it's being made safe for a small, very select group of individuals who are just reducing the vast majority of this country to literally servitude, a form of some type of servitude, like debt bondage because of debt, or other types of bondage. Imprisoning a majority of non-white people. That's a form of bondage as well. And our backs are to the wall. And last week, Ralph, you asked me that question, what do we do to stop this? And I'm saying right now, we've got to get more radical. We've got to counteract this right-wing tidal wave that is engulfing us, and we have to create, our own tidal wave to knock down that tidal wave. And we've got to get radicalized. We've got to get organized. We've got to take it to the streets. And like Bernie Sanders just said minutes ago on the debate that's going on as we speak, we need a new revolution. We've got to literally overthrow this corporate fascism, and we've got to bring power back to the people again. Empower not just the high and the mighty, but also middle America, and also even poor America, and help poor America get back on its feet again, restore its dignity and its pride and its rights and its voice, which has been slowly taken away from us by corporate America, because they're using money to take away the voice of the people, destroying free journalism, destroying free speech, destroying education, which encourages free speech, an education that stimulates the mind, it stimulates the arts. In a sense, you're destroying the arts, you're destroying artistic expression, artistic freedom, and we're in a crisis right now, and we need to be radicalized. We need to save. We need to be radicalized to save ourselves, and it's oh man, it's like it is. It's in a sense, it's a war, and we need this. We need a revolution. If not so much a violent revolution. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we need to regain our rights again. In other words, to revive the Constitution. In a sense, it was like the New Deal in Roosevelt in 1932. That was a radical. The New Deal was an act of radicalism, because for 12 years, from 1921 to 1933, you had the Republican Party with a stranglehold over the presidency and Congress, using this laissez-faire, policy of letting business, take over business. No regulation, and what you had was a Great Depression that literally just threatened to destroy the whole country. And what the New Deal did was re-empower the American people, give farmers hope, give working people hope, give working people their rights, to collectively bargain, to unionize, empowering non-white citizens. Though it was slow and gradual, and it would take 30 more years for African Americans to get their full civil rights, but you were seeing the slow seeds of that being sowed. More, equal pay, so that non-white people could get equal pay along with white people. With government leveling the playing field so that everyone had a fighting chance. Making sure that people were able to work, restoring dignity. And getting people out of work, like artists, and other skillful people, give them a chance, to exercise their skills, not just, in trades, but also in the arts, in agriculture, but it was like a restoration of dignity, and that was radical. The New Deal, it was seen as radical, but it saved this country. And the fact that FDR's legacy still endures today, and the fact that the major argument is the impact of FDR's legacy is still the ongoing political debate. 80 years later. Again, we need to become radical. We need to save this country. In other words, making this country safe for businessmen, and only businessmen only. It's got to stop somehow. We've got to put a stop to it. We've got to save this country because right now there is no future anymore. If this right-wing radicalization, this assault by the right wing upon America continues, we have no future anymore because the youth of America, all they can look forward to is debt, student debt. Their planet is being taken away from them because, by deregulating, ending controls on pollution, you are poisoning this planet. You are making it less safe. I mean, our children, they won't be able to have children because they won't have a planet left. They won't be able to have clean drinking water, no clean air to breathe. They'll be, where their communities could be threatened by extreme weather events because of global warming, disrupting normal weather cycles. And now you're seeing the advances of unknown and dangerous diseases like Triple E. You're seeing more and more cases of this disease in states all over the country. Indiana, just today, they said their first case in Indiana. These are diseases that kill people. They could kill children because, global warming is altering the environment, and now all of a sudden you're creating a climate where insects that can carry these dangerous diseases can now thrive, whereas before, they didn't because, it was cooler. It was not, how would you put it, effective, for these insects to exist, where they were going to exist, in like third world countries, more tropical countries. But now with global warming, they're creating an ecosystem where now these dangerous insects can live. And now we have new threats to American health and all that. And what's to stop like a major epidemic from breaking out? Because, these, insects are carrying these dangerous diseases. So in a sense, our world is being taken away from us. And we've got to become more radicalized to regain our world, to save a world, not just to save people, but also to save this planet, to save animals, and also to protect our children and our children's children and their children as well. For the remainder of the 21st century and beyond. And it's because of this selfishness, this corporate fascism, this corporate short-sightedness. In other words, I don't care about the future. I want to make my profits now. I'm willing to sacrifice the future just so I can make an extra $1 billion. And it's destroying us. We are dying, because of this. And the only way to save ourselves, to maintain life and and light and quality of life, is we've got to get radical. We've got to literally create a new revolution. We've got to literally re-level the playing field again because it's been tilted against us. We're being thrown into a hole of despair, economic despair, social despair, educational despair, and we've got to save ourselves. And I can't, it's just we've got to fight this thing. And I say, you call it socialism, you call it communism. No, I'm saying this is a fight for survival here. And, when lawmen break the law, then there is no law anymore, just a desperate fight for survival. And we got to fight for survival. And if it means being radical and taking it to the streets and, turning the tables on corporate America and restoring democracy and the people's voice, then it's time to get radical. And I can't say any more, Ralph. I think I've said my piece. What do you think, Ralph? That's it. Let's end the tape. Ralph? Okay, well, that's it, folks. I'm signing off, and that's another edition of the Package Tourist Show. And I'll talk to you next week about the Democratic debates ending tonight. Thank you.
The proceeding has been a comfortably zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.